Hey guys, welcome back to BP Gaming Network. We are playing Out of the Park Baseball 21 featuring our Oakland Athletics franchise 2020 season. It is the end of May, so it is May 31st today in our season. And this is where we do our monthly recap, talk about how things progressed in the month of May, both for the team as well as the entire organization. So basically, including the minor league teams. We'll also do a quick rundown of the league, the entire MLB league, and kind of show you guys where things stand, how what else happened, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do a good review and recap for you guys, so you're well caught up on what's happened so far in the month of May. If you want to see what happened in the previous month, the month of April, you can check out our last video for the monthly review for April, which is on our playlist. But before we get going, there's another set of news that we wanted to talk about. So we've launched a website that is more of a companion to our channel. So our new website is at bpgamingnetwork.com. We've been working on the website over the last few weeks. It is up and running. It is live. The website has a lot of content, so I'm very excited about the website, and I hope you guys will be too. So we'll quickly give you guys a quick overview on the website, what you can find on the website, what type of content is on there. The first thing I can mention is there's a lot more content you can get on the website about the Athletics franchise. It's also much more easier to follow the team that way, communicate with us, and share your thoughts and that kind of stuff together on the YouTube channel, but as well as on the website. So we'll now go ahead and take a quick look at the website and what it has to offer, give you guys a look at it, and hope you guys will find your way there and use it as a companion for this channel to continue to follow the A's. From the homepage, you'll be able to see a lot of information. You'll be able to see news from the league. You'll be able to see team news. You'll be able to see rumors, transactions, injuries, all kinds of data and information about the Oakland Athletics OOTP Series 2020 season. You can follow along and immerse yourself in a lot more information. You can check out the news. You can check out game recaps. This is what a typical game recap will look like. It will give you information about how the game went. There'll be a box score where you can check out the stats and all kind of information from that game. From there, you can basically go into all the other menus and check out, for example, rosters. The roster screen or page will give you a lot more information about each player, player salaries. You'll be able to see the date of birth, place of birth, all that kind of information. The player links for all the Athletics players on the active team roster will be here. The links will be activated, so you can click on the link and it will open up a PDF, either as a pop-up or a second window, and from here you can basically take your time and scroll through. You can see the players' ratings, you can check out their bio, their contract status, you can check out their last 10 games, you can see their career stats. You can also check out their player history here. It tells you when a player was drafted and all the different kind of movements the players made. The functionality is also pretty cool. This is your typical PDF functionalities. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, right? You can basically go back to the original size window. So, and then you can X out from each team player profile page if you want to just go back to the website. So we've made it so that the profiles open up in a different window. That way you can X out from that window instead of just hitting the back button. You can also check out stats, and from the stats page you can see both the batting stats as well as pitching stats for each player on the active roster. Again, you can the cool thing if you come to a stats page is that the tables for the stats have the sorting button. So for example, if I want to check out who's the leading player in on base percentage, You can sort the stats depending on how you want to rank them, and it will show you who's got the best on-base percentage. If you want to check out slugging, for example, who's the leader in slugging, you can see it's Matt Olson with a 589 slugging, followed by Chad Pinder with a 574 slugging. So there's a ton of information. You can compare by WAR. You can see who's currently got the best WAR, and you can see it's Marcus Semien. You can do the same thing with pitchers and that kind of stuff. If you want to check out the schedule for the month, if you're curious what kind of games the Athletics have upcoming for the month, this is where you go and you'll be able to see a snapshot. It will show you if the team is going on the road or if it's a home game. Road games usually will say at. So if, for example, the Athletics at Detroit, that tells you that's going to be a road trip. You can check out depth charts. Depth charts will show you the original setup for the Athletics at the beginning of the season and how the players were ranked. Again, this obviously will change over time, but we'll keep it as the original so you guys can compare and see, you know, how the depth charts were set up at the beginning. The standings as well. So this is the complete MLB standings that you can go into and check out, not just the Athletics, but you can see how the other teams rank in the MLB. We've got transactions page here where you can go into it and see all the latest transactions that have happened for the team. We've got an injuries page where you can check out not just who's injured, but it also shows you what type of injury they have and how long they're going to be on the injured list. We also have our farm system where you can basically, and I think this is pretty cool, you get a lot more information on the Athletics minor league system. You can, for example, click on a link for each of the teams and it will take you to the minor league team homepage. You can see the homepage. You can also check out their major transactions for the month so far. So I think there's a ton of information here, and there's more. You can go onto the prospects pipeline. From here, you can check out the top prospects for the Athletics, and they are ranked. So it gives you their rank here on the first column, and for both pitchers and batters. So again, you can immerse yourself and get a lot more info this way. Under pipelines, we also got the draft info. So if you come on this page, it will get updated as we get closer to the draft. It will have a lot more information. As you can see, the last news came through on May 5th as the league announced the upcoming draft. There's a ton of information, including just a few of the top prospects in the draft. There's also draft info. If you want to read up on the draft info, you can click on the screen there and read up on the rules for the draft. So there's a ton of information on this website, and you know, we think that it's the best way to really immerse yourself and follow the Athletics series. So check it out, www.bpgamingnetwork.com. The site is secure, so if you have to leave comments, there will be a comment section in each article. If you want to put your name on there and your email address and leave a comment, we'll soon set up a section where you can create your profile for all our fans that want to follow this series, make it more interactive. You can basically log in. It'll be secure. Well, the site is already secure, and you can basically join in and contribute, you know, and kind of build the immersion that way. So that's basically a snapshot of our website. It's going to continue to improve. We have a sort of breaking news ticker at the top there where you can check out all the key stories that are coming up for the team. There's also links to our different social media sites, so feel free to click on each one. It will take you either to our YouTube channel or our Twitter, and we got our privacy policy, all that kind of stuff. So it's a fun place, and I hope you guys will access the website a lot more and utilize it a lot more. All right, so as we progress along with today's agenda, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the team. We'll have a look at the schedule here and just see how the team performed. So it wasn't a very bad month of May. In fact, we won more games than we lost. But from this calendar view, you can sort of see how things progressed. So we'll quickly do a rundown. So starting from the 1st of May, you can see we had this was I believe it was a 4-game series. You can see it started in April with Tampa Bay Rays. It was a 4-game series that continued into the month of May. The second game was June 1st, and we won the last 3 games of this series. In fact, I think we basically swept the series, let's put it that way. So that was a very good way to start the month of May. And then we had a 3-game series against the Mariners. We lost that series. I mean, we lost the first game, sorry, to the Mariners. That was a 6-5 loss. Although the team did play well, we still couldn't come up with the win. But we ended up winning the next 2 games. So that's pretty good, especially against a divisional matchup against the Mariners. And from there, we had another 3-game homestand against the Blue Jays, and they won this series. So we only won 1 game, they won 2. So it wasn't a very good series for us. And then from there, we went on the road playing the Mariners, and we basically swept them in a 3-game series. You can see there from May 12th and up to May 14th. And then we continued on the road trip and went to California playing the Angels, and we basically won that series 2-1. We won the first game, lost the second, and won the last game. And then we had a 3-game series against the Texas Rangers, and this was at home at the Coliseum. We won 1 game, lost 2 games, and then had another 3-game series against the Angels, and we again beat them, winning 2-1, the series, that is. And then we went on the road again, and this time it was against the Houston Astros. This was a matchup that I was very keen because I wanted to see how the team is going to match up against the Astros, and we evened out that series. It was a 4-game series at Minute Maid Park, and we basically won the first 2 games, lost the last 2 games, and then we finished off the season against the Rangers, playing a 3-game series, and we basically won 1 game, and they beat us in 2 other games. So that, in a very quick nutshell, is how the month of May went as far as performance. So if we go to our info page here, you can actually see the month of April, we had a 16-11 record. And then for the month of May, we had a 17-11 record. So we, in fact, played better in the month of May than we did in the month of April. So, yeah, the Athletics are doing tremendously well. If we go on from this screen, we can check out and see how the team is doing for both batting-wise and pitching-wise. Batting-wise, you can see as far as batting average, we're 9th in the American League, so not so good. We have a decent on-base percentage. We're 5th in the American League. We've been slugging a lot better, which puts us in 3rd position in the American League. If you take a look at the WAR, we are 2nd in the American League. So, and runs scored, we're 3rd, and for extra base hits, we are 1st. So, extra base hits is something that, in my opinion, it helps the Oakland A's. If we play harder and we play small ball and we try to manage to win those games and get a lot of extra base hits, that I think is what's helped us so far. And you can see we're 1st in the American League. We're also 2nd in the American League in home runs. So this team, as I mentioned at the start of the season, this team is packed with power. We have a lot of decent power all through the entire lineup. Actually, I think most of the guys have some level of power, whether it's gap power or home run power or a combination of both. We're also pretty good in getting walks, so that tells me that the players are making the most of their at-bats by not wasting the at-bats, either getting a hit or a walk, and that's what I like to see. So offensively, I think the team is doing pretty good, and you can see base running also. We've been aggressive in base running. If you guys remember at the start of the season, we went into a strategy section and we increased the aggressiveness of base running, but we also wanted to be smart with our base running. We do have a few athletic guys on our team, Laureano. We have a few young guys, Pinder, who are a bit athletic, and so we're trying to maximize and utilize those guys in the right spots. Pitching wise, I'm actually not surprised, and in fact, we've done pretty okay compared to what I thought, or at least where I thought we would be at this time. So if you take a look at our earned run average, we are 5th in the American League with a 4.26 ERA, average ERA for the entire team. That's not bad at all. That is actually fairly decent, given that we don't have the best rotation in the league. We have what I would say is a mid-range type of rotation, because if you consider our best pitcher right now, I believe, if we go home here and take a look, Sean Manai is the best pitcher amongst qualifiers. So what I mean by qualifiers is there's a minimum amount of innings pitched that a pitcher needs to have to qualify for the leaderboards, and Montes and Manai currently qualify, and you can see Frankie Montes struggled quite a bit towards the end of May. We'll talk about that some other time, but Sean Manai is our best pitcher and his ERA is 4.80, so that in itself shows you guys sort of where my concerns were as far as the starting rotation. And it shows here, you can see starters ERA is 4.68, which is good for 6th in the American League. But if you look at our bullpen, which is an area that I was very, very confident with at the start of the season, you can see the bullpen ERA is 3.54, which is good for 1st in the American League. That is very, very decent. So I'm very happy to see those kind of stats. I knew we didn't have the best rotation, and so having an ERA that's good for 6th overall amongst our starters in the American League is actually to me a boost. I wasn't expecting that. In other areas, pitching wise, you can see, I mean, we're 6th in runs allowed. We're 4th in pitching WAR, which is pretty good. If we go defensively, the two key areas that I've measured in this game when it comes to defense is defensive efficiency. So 685, which is good for 7th in the American League, not the best. And we have a negative zone rating, minus 8.0, which is actually pretty bad. So defensively, we're not the best team. That's the bottom line. That's what you can get out of these two stats. We're 11th in the American League when it comes to zone rating, which tells you that we don't have the most athletically talented guys on defense. Now, but all in all, the team is in 1st place in the American League, and we're also 1st place in our division. So we'll show you guys the standings in a bit, but let's quickly go over sort of the key performers in the month of May. You got Steven Piscotty is leading the team in batting average with a 303 batting average. Matt Olson is 2nd with a 301 batting average. Marcus Semien is 3rd with a 278 batting average. So not too bad. Matt Olson and Marcus Semien are the type of guys you expect to be somewhere at the top of our leaderboard when it comes to performance. Marcus Semien also leads the team in home runs with 17. Matt Olson has got 16 at 2nd, and Chris Davis has got 15 and good for 3rd. I would have expected more out of Chris Davis, but he's still contributing power-wise. He's got 40 RBIs, so I mean I can't complain too much. He is still contributing. If you take a look at pitching-wise, like I mentioned, as far as qualifiers, Sean Manai and Frankie Montes, the two pitchers who have enough innings pitched to qualify, and Manai's got a 4.80 ERA. Again, not the best. especially for the guy I consider to be our ace at the beginning of the season. Frankie Montes, who had a very good month of April, he kind of just regressed somewhere mid-May, and things just haven't looked very good for him. If we go in and take a look at the rest of the guys, let me go in here and make sure the stats are showing. All right, so let's quickly take a look at the rest of the guys. So you got Mike Fiers here. He's got 5.18 ERA. So he also has kind of been on and off. So he's had some good weeks, some bad weeks, and looks like so far he's had more bad weeks, or at least more bad innings than good ones. This is where I'm actually overly excited. Is young guys like AJ Puck have stepped up so far. And you can see AJ, after coming back from that injury, he's got a 3.82 ERA so far after pitching in 35 and 1/3 innings. Jesus Luzardo, another young arm in our rotation. Very proud of him, 22 years old. He's pitched in 48 innings, got a 2.63 ERA. So he's been, I'd say, one of those marquee highlights of our season so far for a young guy. Our bullpen is my pride and joy so far. These guys have been pitching as good as they can. They are number one in the American League. Starting off with TJ McFarland. This is a kid who has been around the MLB for a while, and you know, he was brought in by the Athletics in 2019 towards the end of the year, and you know, he's proving himself. He's proving his worth. In 17 and 1/3 innings from the bullpen, he's got a 4.67 ERA, and he's pitched in some key games for us. He's our lefty specialist as well, so good to have him here. Chris Bassett, he's kind of going in and out between starting pitching and the bullpen, but he's pitched really well from the bullpen. He's thrown in 57 and 1/3 innings, and you can see his ERA there, 4.55, which is pretty good for Chris Bassett. If we expand more on his stats, you can see, so from the bullpen, he's thrown in 14 games, and he also started in 8 games. And as a starter, he kind of had some problems there, and so we moved him to the bullpen. And once he went into the bullpen, he's actually pitched really well from there. Turner Anderson, 27 years old, didn't have a very good season last year as a call-up from our AAA Las Vegas. And but so far this year, he's pitched well. He's pitched in more innings than he did last year. He's pitched in 29 and 2/3 innings, and a tremendous ERA, 3.03. So he's been a tremendous help in the bullpen. JB Wendelken has kind of been on and off, but towards the last few weeks of May, he actually has been pitching tremendously well. Yasmero Petit also suffered an injury there, but nonetheless, he's back and he continues to pitch really well for us. He's already thrown in 32 innings, and look at that, 0.084 ERA. So really tremendous stuff. I mean, what else can I really say about this guy? You can see, I mean, he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, so his strikeouts per 9 innings is only 8.7. His ERA plus is 5.72. 5.72. Now, having an ERA plus of anything over 100 is, you know, sort of average. Having an ERA plus of 5.72 is almost all-star capability. So this guy's been pitching extremely well for us from the bullpen. Lou Trevino didn't have the best season last year, but so far this year in 25 and 1/3 innings, his ERA is 3.20 compared to last year. He pitched in 60 innings for the entire season and had an ERA of 5.25. So again, you can see why our bullpen is doing so well. Look at all these guys. Both old and young arms pitching really well for us. We got him in the setup role right now, just because he does have, he can pitch in those short but high those moments where we just need one or two guys to get out, and he can come into those stages, somewhere in the seventh or eighth inning. The other setup man there is Jake Dykman. He's kind of been on and off, but he's still pitching okay. I wouldn't say it's tremendous, but I'll say it's okay. It's decent. Jake has been okay for us. He's been very consistent. If you look at the last 3 years, or at least the last 2 years, he has maintained consistency at keeping his ERA somewhere between that 4.5 and 4.6. The highlight of our pitching staff is our closer, Liam Hendricks. And this guy, man, is tremendous. He currently leads not just the American League, but the entire MLB in saves. So I am beyond excited to have Hendricks playing the way he is. So I know it's only been 2 months, but these guys deserve credit when they're playing the way they're playing. So as I mentioned, you can see between our starting rotation and our bullpen, the bullpen is just really holding its weight and keeping us going. So yeah, that's our pitching staff. Let's take a quick look at the rest of the guys in our offense or position players. Now, the few guys I want to highlight here is Chad Pinder. Chad Pinder has just been something else for us. I mean, this guy already is a very helpful utility player. Chad can play multiple positions, as I've always mentioned. You can see he can play second, third, short, left, right field, and if needed, but very rarely, center field. He's been very consistent. He's been on fire. He's got a batting average of 319, on-base percentage of 368, and a slugging of 574. So not a ton of power. He does have some gap power. He can get doubles, triples, but doesn't get a lot of home runs, but he does come through in key innings. And so far this season, he's just been tremendous for us. Steven Piscotty, again, both April and May, Piscotty has just been as consistent as you can expect. He's a veteran for this team. He's been with the A's for some time. He's got a 303 batting average, 6 home runs, not a ton of power, but very, very streaky hitter, and a guy who's come through for us multiple times. Austin Allen, he's our catcher. He was started off as our backup catcher, and he basically was, matched up. Potentially could have been our starting catcher, but he started off as a backup catcher because of Sean. Sean is our starting catcher who's got injured. He's currently on the injured list. But Austin Allen has come through tremendously for us. You can see in 87 at-bats, he's got a 287 batting average, 333 on base, and a 471 slugging. So, and he's also raked in 4 home runs so far. So he's been a huge boost for us from the catching position, and very excited. He's now our starting catcher now that Sean is injured. And that means we called up Jonah Heim. If you watched some of our videos in the last few weeks, you'll notice that Jonah Heim was called up. He hasn't had an at-bat yet for us this season, but he's our backup at the moment. Matt Olson, consistent. We mentioned him at the beginning. Tony Kemp, he's been okay. He's helped us out defensively on some games, but he hasn't been that good in offense. You can see he's only got a 227 batting average, and no power whatsoever. So Tony Kemp, don't expect a lot of power from him. Chris Davis, he's struggled making contact, but he's still driven in 40 RBIs, and he's still got 15 home runs, which is good for third on our team so far. I expect to hopefully he can turn that around and increase his power as time goes on. Matt Chapman has struggled from the beginning of this season up to today. He's still continuing to struggle. I benched him in the last couple games towards the end of May, and hoping that he can turn this around, because this guy was an all-star last year. And you know, I mean, he's mostly known for his defense. I get that, but he also comes through with some power. And I mean, he sort of has. He's given us, you know, 11 home runs, but you know, we expect a little bit more than 212 batting average for a starter of his caliber. So he's sort of one of the biggest disappointments so far. But hey, it's only May. Anything can happen. He can turn this around. Ramon Laureano, offensively, he's not really been there for us, but he's been there for us defensively. He's our center fielder, the most capable center fielder we actually have on our team. So we don't have a lot of depth when it comes to center field, and Ramon fills in that role and helps us out that way. Mark Canner, he's kind of been okay. He had a very good month of April, and then in the month of May, he just disappeared offensively. He's got 7 home runs, 215 batting average. Not what we were expecting of him. Some of the guys we can mention: Robbie Grossman. He's been called upon a few times. He's one of our switch hitters, so he helps us out that way when it comes to matchups offensively against other teams. But he hasn't been all that great on defense or offensively. Franklin Barreto, I've kind of given him some playing time here and there. He's only had 35 at-bats, so he's not had a tremendous amount of at-bats, but he has not played very well so far. So going forward, don't be surprised if you see us send him back down to AAA and see if we can bring somebody else in that position. We currently have Tony Camp and Chad Pinder at second, who can play second. We might send him down and bring maybe another outfielder to help us out, especially with Robbie Grossman's situation there, because we do have a good number of infielders who are capable. Yeah, we'll see how things go when we start the new month of June. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the recent call up from AAA, Jonah Heim, is the backup catcher. Hasn't had an at bat yet. So that's sort of a nutshell, performance wise, as far as the team, the month of May. That's where things sort of that's how things have played out so far. Let's put it that way. Let's touch on some injuries that we still have. As I mentioned, Sean Murphy is still injured. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. We put him on the 10-day injured list, and we don't expect him again for probably another 6 weeks. Breivik Valera, this was a guy that we picked up. We claimed him from waivers earlier. He didn't have, again, he had only 33 at-bats, only had a 1 home run and a batting average of 242. He was okay for us defensively, though, and he was also fairly decent with base running and that kind of stuff. But beyond that, because he was able to get 1 steal, but he's an aggressive base runner, so he helps us out when it comes to those opportunities. He's currently injured. We don't expect him again for maybe another 3 days, so he should be back by the end of next week. And then Joakim Sawyer, he went on the 60-day IL. We don't expect him back for another 3 weeks, and we tremendously would like to have Joakim back. He's a fairly capable relief pitcher for us, and although he wasn't having the best season for 2020, he's still tremendously gifted pitcher when it comes to playing in the setup position. All right, guys, so in a nutshell, that's kind of how the performance has gone. Those are the injuries we currently have so far. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the standings for the team, MLB standings. And I like to usually give you guys the sub-league view so we can separate the 2 leagues, American League and National League. So look at that. Your Oakland Athletics leading the American League with a 36-25 win and loss record. The Texas Rangers are second. I mean, this is this is actually a huge surprise for me. The Rangers were extremely poor over the last couple of years, and but yeah, they seem to be making up for it this year. The Twins, not a surprise. Astros again, you could say they probably, with everything that's going on, they should be happy that they're still only in fourth position. The Indians in that fifth position, and then you got a bunch of guys in the middle there. Nothing surprising as far as the bottom, except for the Yankees. They are currently in second last spot in the American League, and that is shocking. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles are playing better than the Yankees, so you know that's just what can happen sometimes. I know a lot of people would be looking at that and shaking their heads, but you know, I mean, yeah, that's one that can make you shake your head. You know, the Yankees, but we don't know what kind of transactions they've done in this particular save and in this series, so it is what it is. National League wise, you got the Diamondbacks leading the National League with a 36-23 record. The Dodgers in second, the Braves and the Cardinals in fourth. So not huge surprises, but a few minor surprises here and there. The Nats in the middle position there, followed by the Cubs. You could probably argue either way. I mean, these two teams could easily be top five. The bottom, though, nothing surprising here. You know, the Giants. I mean, that's pretty decent for them considering the way they've been the last few years. The Padres, same thing. Even with all the expensive players they purchased. The Brewers would be my biggest surprise. The Brewers, I mean, I could see them being easily top 6, top 7 in this standings. Marlins and the Rockies, I mean, you know, Rockies they tend to be middle of the pack, if you will. So, but it's only May. It's only been 2 full months, April and May, and these are your standings. So that's where things are at so far. I like to take a look at stats and see if we have any athletics who are leading the league, or at least, you know, in the running. If we start with batting leaders, we can see Jose Peraza has got the best batting average in the league. This is for both leagues. So in the MLB, 361, followed by Cody Bellinger, Lindor, Story, Josh Bell. Wow, okay. Luis Arias and Nolan Arenado. They got that top 7 spot there. Home runs, Joey Gallo leading the league in home runs with 27, followed by Gary Sanchez. Wow, okay. I mean, he does have some power, so it's not shocking. Again, it's just 22 home runs, and it's only May. Rhys Hoskins, wow, 20 home runs, third. Cody Bellinger again. Bellinger's showing up in a few different leaderboards here. And then we got Max Muncy, the former Athletic, who went to the Dodgers, and then Giancarlo. So some of the guys you normally would have expected to be at the top, they're not here. And again, a lot of things can happen to affect that, right? You got injuries, that affects playing time and affects performance and all sorts of things. So Mike Trout shows up amongst the best in on base. There's not a lot of athletics showing up in most of these stats, except for Matt Olson. He's 6th at the top amongst the best on base percentage players, and he is 7th in on base plus slugging. And then we got Matt Olson showing up here with 3.04 wins probability added. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a look at pitching. The league leaders in pitching. Starting with the on-run average, we've got Carlos Martinez, and this is among all the qualifiers. So Carlos Martinez from the Cardinals, and then you got Robbie Ray from the Diamondbacks. Second, Yu Darvish. Third, Joe Musgrove. Fourth, Julio Teheran. Fifth, and Mike Soroka from Atlanta. Sixth, and then Walker Buehler. Corey Kluber leads the league in wins. And yeah, and then here's your boy Liam Hendricks leading the league in saves, as I mentioned. So not too many athletics showing up in most of these leaderboards. So that's that. And we can also take a quick look at fielding stats. So the best fielder so far based on fielding percentage, well, it's actually shared among 7 people. But we'll move on to Matt Olson, who's leading the league in total chances. Matt Olson also leads the league in putouts. Matt Olson also leads the league in double plays. Matt Olson also leads the league in games started. So Matt Olson is showing up everywhere, so that's exciting to see. So that's sort of a quick summary in a nutshell about the league, how the team compares against the rest of the league, and how other teams are matching up in the league. Now, if we basically go ahead and start taking a look at our minor league teams, why don't we just go from the last screen? So let's go ahead and go to Las Vegas. Let's see how the AAA team has been performing so far. So they're currently in 3rd place in the South Division with a 22-29 record. The best offensive players have been Dustin Fowler, so center fielder there for a AAA team, and a potential candidate to be called up to replace Laureano Given, or at least to replace Barreto, one of the two. He's a decent outfielder. He's already had his MLB debut, and he's been playing really well. Sky Bolt, one of our top 50 minor leaguers, number 2 there with a 266 batting average, and Ryan Goins with a 259 batting average. Pitching wise, you got Grant Holmes, currently the best pitcher for this team with a 3.69 ERA. So yeah, not the best start of the season for the Las Vegas Aviators, but there's still a long season left to be played. Let's go ahead and take a look at AA Midland Rockhounds. They are 2nd in their division. The best players offensively: Jonah Heim, the catcher that we called up, Tyler Ramirez, the left fielder, and Luis Barrera. Luis Barrera is one of our top minor league prospects. He's got a 321 batting average in 190 at-bats. Now, they don't have any qualifying pitchers to make the leaderboard, but if we go into the starting rotations, we can see we've got a few guys that are pitching well so far. Tyler Baum and Rafael Kelly and Chase Cohen. And from the bullpen, we've got Ian Gadek, Eric Marinez, and James Neal, or Nile, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. So that's basically a quick look at our AA team. Let's go ahead and take a look, go to California and take a look at our advanced A team, Stockton Ports. Best offensive player is Ben Spitznagel, 298 batting average. Mickey White and Lazaro Amenteros. So pitching wise, Wyatt Marks and Xavier Altamirano, these the only 2 pitchers who qualified. The team is last in their division, and we've got a few guys who are injured from this team. And then we'll only go as far as the regular A Beloit Snappers. We've got a few guys here who are playing well offensively. Henry Panjoja with just a 250 batting average, but 11 home runs for Gio Dinkon. So even though he doesn't rate out as a guy with a lot of power, nonetheless he's managed to hit 11 home runs from regular A level, so not too bad, but nothing else really to highlight from that level. Yeah, so that's a quick snapshot of our minor league teams and how they're doing. If we quickly take a look at all the major transactions that have happened so far, quick recap at the beginning of the month. So we basically sent Bart Smith, optioned him to AAA Las Vegas, and we brought up Jesus Luzardo, and you guys have seen how well Jesus has played as soon as he came off that injured list. The most latest transactions involve Sean Murphy getting injured and going into the 10-day injured list, as I mentioned earlier, and then we called up Jonah Heim to replace him, and he came from our AA team. We also had Daniel Mengden, who was injured and came off the injured list, and we sent him down to AAA Las Vegas to heal and to rehab. And then we had a few transactions here which involved Mark Payton, who was sent back to Oakland from the Cincinnati Reds. He was picked up by the Reds last year as a Rule 5 draft pick, and they sent him back. So those were sort of the key transactions that happened in the month of May. Let's take a quick look here at what else we can highlight as far as the key things that have happened this month. So let's go into the BNN homepage and quickly take a look. So, well, that's pretty much all that's worthwhile mentioning as far as the month of May. So bottom line is the team is doing really well. We're playing really well. As far as performance and standings and injuries and that kind of stuff, we don't have any significantly bad injuries to worry about so far. Cross our fingers. Bullpen shining, playing really well. Offense contributing, quite a few guys playing well. Starting rotation, not the greatest, but still has managed to actually pitch well comparatively compared to the rest of the league, right? Because we're sixth in our starting rotation area. Now we can go over and take a quick look at the draft info. So that's not where I wanted to go. So we had the draft pool that was released as we're approaching the June draft, the June 1st player draft. So this is the draft pool, and what we'll do today on this video is we'll go ahead and highlight a few guys that we'll put on our short list and keep track of those guys, and then we'll see if we can get one or two or more of those guys drafted when it comes draft day. So draft day is still scheduled for June 4th. In our season, we are May 31st today, so we're approaching that date, which means this is a good time to go into this draft pool and start filtering out some guys. So I've already created a short list for our draft short list, and we'll do this with you guys. So as I mentioned in the start of the season, one of our key strategies or philosophies for this year will be to try and draft very decent starting pitchers, or at least very decent starting pitchers using the draft. The first few draft, I would probably say the first 5 draft spots, I'm gonna dedicate those to starting pitchers to keep with the philosophy. Okay, so having said that, I've already filtered out the screen you're looking at to only show me pictures. So I went here, click position, and I only want to see pictures. So from here, we can filter it out even more, but from the right column, you can actually see the position, whether they're, positioned or projected to be relief pitchers or starting pitchers. That can change over time, over a player's career, because if they adopt their skill level to a starting pitcher, they can evolve into a starting pitcher. So don't focus too much on that. All right, so I've gone ahead and filtered this based on potential rating. You don't need to care about overall rating, because these guys are literally at the stage where they don't have a lot of experience playing in professional baseball. So far, they've been playing in high school and college, but they have yet to hit the pros, and that could be whether it's independent or minor league teams. So the most highly rated pitcher as far as potential is Emerson Hancock. We wouldn't go too much and take a look at their stats, because it's not going to make much of a difference for us at this stage of the game. But we'll quickly highlight the guys that we think have a good chance, one, of being recruited by the A's. And how do we do that? We take a look at signability. This is based on our scout telling us if this guy has got the capability to be signed by the Athletics. Asa Lacy stands out right off the bat. If we go in here and take a look at his potential, he has a very high ceiling potential-wise. He's got pretty high velocity, 93 to 95 miles per hour at the age of 20. He is in college, plays for Texas A&M. And thus far, he's pitched in 106 innings and he's got a 2.28 ERA in college. His stuff has got potential to be above average. He's also got the potential to get above average movement, and he's slated to have about average control. His fastball, which is the one that's recorded at somewhere between 93 and 95 miles per hour, can get to above average in the future. His curveball could end up being his best pitch, which could end up being a well or a plus average fastball in the future. And his changeup can be above average in the future. So all the ratings he's got are projecting so far that he can develop into a decent pitcher. And this is a kid that we wouldn't mind targeting as far as our draft. So Asa Lacy, we'll go ahead and add him in our shortlist. Add to draft shortlist. Okay, so there you go. Anytime we add a player into a shortlist, his name will all of a sudden be capitalized. All right, Mick Abel. And by the way, I forgot to mention that Asa, to sign him, we're going to need to meet his current demand of $1.1 million in signing bonus, which I think we have the budget for that. Mick Abel, be extremely hard to sign him. He's 18 years old, out of high school. Pitched well so far, and his ratings is projected to have at least 4 pitch arsenal, or 4 pitch types. A fastball that can get up to above average in the future, a curveball that can get above average, a slider that can also get to above average, and an average changeup that, at least we're talking about in the future. The scouting accuracy is expected to somewhere be in the high level. So meaning what you're seeing here is according to the scout or OSA scout. Well, this is based on our scout, I believe. If we switch to OSA, they're just a half rating short as far as the expectation, and that is using a very low scouting accuracy. So I'll go ahead and trust my head scout, and we'll go ahead and mark Mick Abel add him to our draft shortlist. All right, so we've got 2 starting pitchers that we've added into our draft shortlist. We've got Nick Bitso. He's also expected to be a very difficult signing. He's got a 3-star potential. Now, before we look at him, let's take a look at a guy who is currently projected to be an easy signing for us, a very easy signing for us. Luca Delatri. Or we can actually, before we do that, let's take a look at Tommy Mace. Tommy Mace is also projected to be an easy sign for us. His scouting accuracy by our scout is decently high. He's 21 years old, so he's out of college. Let's see what team he was playing for, what college he was playing for. So Florida. Another starting pitcher, projected to be a starting pitcher. He's got a ton pitching types. He's got a fastball that can be above average in the future. He's got a sinker, curveball, slider, and a changeup. And his stuff, not expected to go that high. But he does have the potential for us to sign him. So I'll go ahead and add him to my draft shortlist. It's easy to go and just put all the guys at the top as part of your shortlist, but if we're assuming our scout could be somewhere near being right, you don't want to put guys that are extremely hard to sign, because even though you do find them available in the draft and you sign them, some of these guys, if you can't meet their demands, they can basically turn around and say, you know what, I don't want to play for your team and I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to sit out this draft. So you want to balance it out. I want to find guys that are between normal, easy, and very easy to sign, and then maybe 1 or 2 that can be hard or extremely hard. All right. So the next normal to sign, now we'll go back to the very easy Luca Delarati. Luca, out of North Carolina, looks like he's 22 years of age. He's already, wow, okay. So he's already had 4 years in college. And in those 4 years, he's actually pitched okay. So if that's the case, we could probably say, okay, the capability or possibility of the scouting accuracy being high is there. He's not expected to be a lights out starting pitcher. He's a neutral when it comes to ground ball or fly ball pitcher. His velocity is on the lower 90s, 90 to 92. There's nothing outstanding or special that stands out with this guy. He's got a 3-pitch arsenal, a fastball, slider, change. All of them expected to be average, if not just very slightly above average. His stuff is expected to be below average. Movement, control, all of that below average. So I want to skip on Luca. Yeah, I'm going to skip on Luca. So I'll go back, and since we've already got Tommy Mace, the last easy guy, we'll go to the next guy who's either easy or normal. And Andrew Abbott is normal as far as signability. His scouting accuracy high, potential 2.5. His stuff and movement and control will all be average, if not just ever slightly below average. a potential 4-pitch arsenal with his fastball that can get up to 91 to 93. Curveball could be his best pitch in the future. It's got a slider and a changeup. And he's out of Virginia. He's had a year in college of pitching with a 3.54 ERA. So I want to take a chance because he's a normal signability. He doesn't look too bad. I'm going to take a chance and we're going to add him to the draft. Draft shortlist. Sorry, guys. So we got 1, 2, 3. We got 3 guys that we've added to the draft shortlist so far. We're going to add 2 more, and then we'll call it a day. There's a guy here, Max Rajic. Potential 3-star in the future, out of Lutheran. He's a high school pitcher, so he's 18 years of age. His stuff, it's expected to plateau at average, control just slightly above average. Very standard 3-pitch arsenal, fastball, curve, and change. So what I'll do when you get to this stage, I'm gonna filter this out and try to see if we can, what did I do? Let's customize this a bit. Let's go in and see if we can find guys with velocity that is at least in the 95s. At least, let's say 95 to 97. Let's filter it out that way. Okay, so different ways of looking at things, and as soon as I filter it out, you can see we've got one person that we had picked who's extremely hard for us to sign, make able. This gives us a few more guys, because at this point I'm going to start looking for guys who have something that tells me, you know what, it's a worthwhile risk to take this guy. And if we look at Slade Ciccione, 20 years of age, out of Trinity Prep, 1 year of pitching, got a 2.14 ERA, 92 and 2/3 innings. Look at his stuff potential, could be above average, just below average movement, and above average, average control. His fastball though, it can get around 96 to 98. Okay, fairly decent curve. His fastball can be a plus average slider, and just an average changeup and above average curve. So this is a worthwhile risk for me to take in Slade. So where are you, Slade? Right there. We're gonna add Slade to our draft shortlist. All right, so we've got 4 guys in our shortlist, and now we've got somebody else who popped up here with a very easy signability, and somebody else here, Look Little. So we got a few guys from college and a few guys from high school. This is a high school projection. Look Little, 19 years of age. Velocity can get to 98 to 100. Again, guys, this is all, it's a risk. There's no guarantees, but we have to work with the info we have to make the best decision we can. And at this point, this is the info we have from our scout. I trust that we have a decent scout. This guy is basically slated. He looks very average to me, but he does have decent signability. His personality is unknown, and let's see who else is out there. All right, we got a lefty here in Garrett Crochet, 20 years old, out of Tennessee. This is a college level player. Velocity 95 to 97 miles per hour. He's a power pitcher. He's a fly ball pitcher. He can end up having a plus average fastball and a plus slider in the future, and an average change. We will take a chance on Garrett. Alright, what am I doing? That's not where we want to go. Actions, shortlist, add him to draft shortlist. Done. So we picked 5 guys today. We focused mainly on pitchers. Our focus was mainly on starting pitchers, a combination of some college and some high school guys, combination of guys who signability seems easy, that we can sign these guys. You know, as I mentioned to you guys, it's very easy. If I remove, for example, let's go ahead and clear the filters, okay? And if it's very easy to come here and filter this out based on the highest potential guys, and then go ahead and just click on these guys. In fact, Emerson, I'm gonna add this guy because why not take a chance on him? Why do I keep doing that? Shortlist, we're gonna add him to a draft shortlist. Now, you know, you wanna be strategic as well. You're not gonna be able to sign a lot of guys that say hard or extremely hard. So instead of just picking the top 10 guys with the top highest potential, I like to look at a few other areas. There's not a lot of data to glean from. You know, stats are good. They are a good indicator, but they're not the only and best indicator because these guys are still young and developing. Like I said, they haven't played in the pros. As soon as they go to rookie ball or they go to single A, they get their first taste of professional baseball, and that's where you start to see, you know, who's who. But you can, you know, because what happens if you try to sign guys who are impossible to sign, you waste your drafts. You end up selecting them. You don't get to know if they sign right away because they don't sign right away. So you pick all these guys, and later on you find that these guys don't want to sign with your team because they just don't want to play for you, or you can't afford them, and they end up going back to school or sitting out that round, that draft year. And so then you're left with nothing for that period. So you wasted a few draft opportunities when you could have picked a few other guys that have potential. So that's my strategy. So that's in summary the month of May. The draft is coming up. Our next videos will focus more on the draft, at least we'll have elements of the draft, and more. We'll show you guys. Of course, I will be selecting a few other guys from position players based on our needs. And if you guys don't know our needs, I usually I got my own notes, and we have needs in second base, starting pitching, and catching. As far as depth, which is, so upgrade needs are immediate needs that we have in our active roster team. Depth is needs that we have in the entire organization, all the way from minor league to the active MLB team. And these are positions that I want to consistently focus on. So closing, starting, second base, right field, center, catcher, and relief pitcher. So I will find guys in the draft that will fit this criteria, but today we basically we were making decisions based on our philosophy. I wanted to first pick the first 5 players being pitchers, and we've done that. We've picked a few guys that we can focus on. All right, so it was a long video, but this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, please hit the like button, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And remember, you can check out a lot more stuff, including draft info and all that kind of stuff, on our website at www.bpgamingnetwork.com. OOTP.com. See you guys next time.